Just let me work, no, just let me work. I'm out here grinding. Yeah, I'm out here grinding. Woo. I told him that I'm out here grinding. I'm out here grinding. Hey, you ain't never heard nothing like this. Let me work, show me where the mic is. I'm on stage.
It's the afternoon sports drive here on the Triple Play Sports Radio Network. Patrick Wheeler with you here on this Thursday and coming to you live from Exchange Bank and Trust here in Stillwater on 4301 West 6th. You can also find them in North Main and Stillwater, and they have a location in beautiful Perry, America, downtown Perry. Another branch there in Exchange Bank. We appreciate them setting me up in this beautiful, it's like a meeting and or / conference room, and it is awesome. I'm telling you, this place is really nice out here. And they have a ton of stuff that we're going to get into later that they are offering here at Exchange Bank that you don't want to miss out on. So we'll be joined later on in the show by Andrea Bindali, and she'll come in here and let me know about all this good stuff that you can get to and get going here at Exchange Bank here on this Thursday. And that means Tom Dorado is going to be in hour number 2. On top of that, it's like we just added sprinkles to the ice cream here because Levi Peckinpah is in studio running everything, and he's going to join me here. Yeah, you like that? The sprinkles on the ice cream.
Oh, yeah. Add the sprinkles because it's too sweet, baby.
If you use that as your tagline from now on, you got to give me credit, okay?
Okay, fine. I will if that happens.
I've had Levi, I'm telling you, man, you've been doing overtime, basically.
Oh, yeah.
At the station.
You know, I've just been grinding. That's how it works.
That's right. We're out here getting this money, getting this work in. Got you on my show 3 times this week. You're doing some board work. You got your show coming up at 8 o'clock, which is, by the way, what's the name of that again?
Oh, it's the O'Cauley Sports Student Section.
There you go. I always let you get a little plug in.
Oh, yeah. Got to get it in. Get in our NFL predictions later on tonight.
Oh, man, you're going to get those in tonight. See, that kind of gives you a bit of an advantage because you have your heads up, you can give your predictions, and then you're able to come in on Friday and just knock them out with me. So you already know where you're going to go with those, and I'm still kind of fresh. I'm still thinking. Speaking of that, you got a chance to look at that whiteboard up there. You want to tell everybody where we are in our picks right now?
Yes, you are leading by 2 points, 60 picks to 58 picks.
Whew, man. And one of those reasons I'm leading is because you decided to, on Monday afternoon, switch it up and go ahead with the Cowboys over the Cardinals, which might have been the biggest mistake you've made this year.
Oh, yeah. Just maybe. Just might have been. Hey, it was worth the risk, though. I can still make it up. There's still a lot of time left to go. There's still so much NFL left to go.
Thank goodness there is. We have actually week 7? Yeah, week 7.
Yep, we do have week 7.
Wow, yeah. Kicking off tonight. It's not a great game by any means with the Eagles and the Giants. But we will talk a little bit about it, give our predictions later on in the show. And we'll make Tom do that, too, since his Giants are playing. And I'm wondering, since there is no World Series game tonight, will he be forced to watch the Giants? I'm sure he's going to have to. I mean, he probably still won't, Levi, but do you think he might just flip it over just to see, maybe?
I think he'd rather watch paint dry, to be honest with you.
I think there's a better chance of Tom watching paint dry than turn over and watch the Giants tonight. Yeah.
I mean, that's what I might be doing during my show. I might just go, what can I maybe get on Netflix, just watch Bob Ross instead of watching the Giants versus Eagles game? I might do that.
That's pretty rough. We've had some rough Thursday night games, but wow. Yeah, this one, anybody in the NFC East going against each other, it is not quality football. We'll just say that. Nope. So, yeah, a lot to get into in the show, obviously. We're going to get into some Oklahoma State football here real quick. We're just 2 days away from Oklahoma State kicking off in what is so far the biggest game of the year for them in the Big 12 easily with Iowa State. And talk about that. Also coming up, Tua Tagovailoa is the new quarterback with the Miami Dolphins. And it was a crazy, sad reaction from Ryan Fitzpatrick that we're going to get into as well. Levi and I have our top 5 and bottom 5 teams in the NFL through 6 weeks we'll get to, as well as World Series Game 2 reaction because the Rays decided to come back and tie it up, and America wins when the Dodgers lose. So we will get into all of that later on as well. But first, with Oklahoma State football, coming into this weekend, obviously with Iowa State, this is, we know, just a huge matchup. But Levi, I like to look at it like this. Quarterback-running back matchup here. The best we've seen by far so far this season as well. Spencer Sanders, Chuba Hubbard versus Brock Purdy and Breece Hall. All I'm saying is grab the popcorn in that situation.
Oh, yeah. With how everything is looking like on both sides of the field, both for quarterbacks and running backs, it's just an offensive feast for everybody. It's going to be a great time watching it. It's probably going to have everybody on their seat. I know here in the studio, whenever we do the Orange Nation Game Time show, I'm going to be sitting here scared for my life because both of these teams are evenly matched on both sides. Just really good offenses, really great defenses. So it's just scary all around.
Yeah, and that's why I think that this is a fairly even matchup to me, honestly. When you look at it across the board, I'm not able to just go ahead and say there's going to be a dominant on one side. And you look at it, I think Vegas thinks the same way. They have OSU as a 3.5-point favorite at this moment, and that could possibly change, obviously, before Saturday. But to me, I'm thinking that really it's a huge game, but it's going to come down to OSU's defense. And I say that because we also got to hear from Cam Murray yesterday, who kind of reiterated what I said, I think it was yesterday too, about the defense being able to come out and show everybody that, look, we know the competition we faced in the first few weeks, and we've played like we should against that competition. But this is an opportunity for us as a defense to show everyone else that we are for real. This is a league in the Big 12 where everybody consistently talks about the offense over and over and then talks bad about the defense. But Oklahoma State has this ability here in this game to not just come away with the win, but if the defense can stick to the script and keep doing what they've done through 3 games, it's going to not only put Oklahoma State more in the playoff contention and then more in the playoff picture and the discussion, but it's going to show that that defense is absolutely legitimate, and they're not afraid to go up against any offense. However, on the flip side of it, this is absolutely their biggest test of the year, no doubt.
Oh, yeah, definitely the biggest test, especially with the inconsistencies and the majority of the other teams in the Big 12. And unfortunately, I can't put K-State up in the running anymore with the loss of Skylar Thompson because I would love to, because that K-State team led by Skylar Thompson, it's amazing, but since he's out for the rest of the season, you gotta chunk it, unfortunately. But for Oklahoma State and this defense, if they can keep it going, it's going to be a great time because, especially when it comes to stopping the run game, they are phenomenal at that. And then it comes down to if Brock Purdy can truly step up in the big moments and get past a lot of our great pass defense. And that's going to be the hard thing for Brock Purdy, is because whenever we can lock down the run game, we see Breece Hall, he potentially could get shut down just like a lot of other running backs in the Big 12 have. It could be a tough time for Iowa State if they can't keep it going against all these other guys that we have on the defense.
That's what I'm really going to be curious about in this ball game, is how Breece Hall does come in and what exactly he's going to be able to do against this defense, because you talked about the pass defense. Well, how about the rushing defense allowing just 2.42 yards this season per rush? I mean, that's 6th best in the country. So that tells you right there they have been shutting down running backs, and they get their chance to come in with Breece Hall and see if we could do the same thing. Obviously, Breece Hall, one of the better backs in college football, really, in my opinion, so they will have their hands full in that department. On the other side, when you look at Iowa State's defense and the running back they have to face here in Chuba Hubbard and L.D. Brown, they want to be able to force Chuba Hubbard and L.D. Brown not to get a lot of positive momentum and make the quarterbacks for Oklahoma State beat them, whether it's Spencer Sanders or Shane Illingworth down the road, who knows, but it looks like it's definitely going to be at least starting Spencer Sanders. But I think, Levi, the key here for them is they want to show or come out here and say, let's let this quarterback, who, by the way, hasn't played in over a month, come out here and try to beat us with his arm, because that's the best shot they have. If they don't stop Chuba Hubbard or L.D. Brown, we know that they're just going to run all day on Iowa State's defense. It's going to be a long afternoon. So when you come into it defensively for them, they know it all relies on making Spencer Sanders beat them through the air.
Yeah, and the problem is with Spencer Sanders, at least for Iowa State, the problem is Spencer Sanders can do more than just throw the ball. He's the definition of the dual threat. And if he gets going and he shows, hey, I'm truly back at 100%, then it's going to throw Iowa State into just kind of hysteria. You're going to have to try to figure out how to cover him and stop him at whatever he wants to do. Then once that happens, that opens up the lanes for Chuba Hubbard and L.D. Brown to go down there and terrify Iowa State. So truly, it's a lose-lose situation for Iowa State if Spencer Sanders gets going. But if Spencer Sanders does not get going, it could be a long day for the Cowboys.
Well, and I think we're going to find out pretty early whether he's going to be able to or not. and that means you're going to have Iowa State bring plenty of pressure and force him to move, force him to maybe even make throws that he wouldn't be comfortable making in any other situation. If that's the case, though, and he's able to come up with big plays and he's able to extend plays, I think early on you're able to maybe calm some people down a little bit, too, with the whole idea of, well, we know Spencer's coming in, but is he going to be rusty, and will they have to switch to Shane, and blah, blah, blah. But you throw all that in there, and if Spencer comes out and he's like, look, let me show that I still got it. Let me show that I'm 1,000% healthy. Next thing you know, the noise is kind of quieted a little bit. Spencer Sanders is your guy, and you're able to move forward from there. So not only is it just a big game for Oklahoma State in terms of offensively having Spencer back, but for him personally, this is his biggest chance to come back and kind of, I don't know if I'd say regain the team is the right way to put it, but it is sort of in the same sense of, like, Shane has been the guy these last few games, and unfortunately for me, that means I'm going to have to come out and maybe in a sense win everybody back and show them, look, I'm still the QB of this team. I'm still Oklahoma State's leader. So he's got some pressure on his shoulders. The question is he going to be able to lift them all up and get themselves out there to a quick offensive start?
Yeah, the main thing is you just have to quiet the noise. You can't let all these outside voices talk and listen to them. You can't listen to all those voices. And here's the thing, everybody in Oklahoma State country loves to talk. I mean, hey, that's why we're on here. We love to talk about everything that's going to be involved with the game, the who, what wins, the potential that could happen, especially say if Spencer Sanders goes down and you got to put in Illingworth, especially since he's had time on the field. But he's got to ignore all this talk, ignore all of these words, and just focus on his game, all of his teammates, the pacing that he was going at before injury, and just go out on there and play the best game that Spencer Sanders can play, and also like throw 3 touchdowns to Tylan Wallace, because we like that.
Yeah, we definitely would. I think that's another thing Iowa State is going to try to do defensively pretty quickly and it's hard to do, obviously, but allowing, Tylan Wallace to come in and just beat you is something that they're really trying to avoid early on. If that's the case, if they can double team him and take him out of the picture, at least minimize the impact he might have offensively. Your Spencer Sanders, you have to come in and be ready to get it to other guys. You have to get Dylan Stoner involved, Landon Wolf involved, Braden Johnson. Get all these guys involved to where you're going to be able to spread it out. And then eventually, once the pressure starts coming off and the Iowa State defense realizes we got to start focusing more on these other receivers, that's all it takes for Tylan to get one step on a guy, and he's gone for what could be, any time a game-changing score at any moment. So you're looking for that opportunity. I also think, Levi, as well, offensively, when you look at what Chuba and LD have been able to do this year, the Oklahoma State offense also needs them not just to run the ball efficiently, but to maybe even take a little bit of pressure off of Spencer Sanders. He's not having to make a big-time throw every single play. He's not having to be the one to get success going on drives. It's let's start it off with Chuba, and if he's ripping off chunk gangs, we don't even have to go to the passing game all that much. So if LD and Chuba come out and they're able to dominate on the ground early, it's so much easier, I think, for Spencer to kind of even get in a rhythm knowing, hey, look, they're able to get me in a third down situation where it's much more manageable. It's not 3rd and 10, it's 3rd and 3, it's 3rd and 4, and that's something I can definitely take care of. And next thing you know, you got a couple of methodical drives going down the field. If that can happen with the run game, it sets Spencer Sanders up so much better back there.
Oh, yeah, if you can get that going, that just allows all the pressure to go off Spencer Sanders. And I guess you could compare it to the time with Shane Illingworth when there was some times where not the best runs happened, where you'd only get like a yard or two, and you put Illingworth in some compromising positions. But then again, that's also dealing with such a stripped-back, just basic scheme that it put Oklahoma State in a lot of frustrating situations. But now that Spencer Sanders is back, now that the playbook is back open, you would hope that with now more time and more prep with Charlie Dickey and the offensive line, with Casey Dunn being able to stick with these guys for a couple weeks and not having to go out there and play everybody, and you have all those reps in that you need, that everybody's going to be on the same page and that everybody is going to be ready to go out there and make Iowa State the statement game that Oklahoma State truly needs right now.
Yeah, it is going to be a big-time statement game, I think, and it could be for both teams, honestly. They're both going in with that same mindset. Iowa State the same way. Look, we want to knock off Oklahoma State. They're undefeated team in the conference, not just in the conference but overall. And we want to make sure and make sure they have no opportunity to come in here and keep that going. So it's going to be a fantastic matchup. I think it's a close matchup, and it's going to be a close score by the end of it. I'm saving my final score prediction, all that good stuff, for Saturday morning. But of course, we'll have all that coverage on the Triple Play Sports Radio Network with the Orange Nation game day, all that. It's going to be 12 straight hours, and we're going to be on 5 hours ahead. I know, Levi, you're going to be a part of that as well during the game, so that'll be good stuff. And we'll be able to hear that on the Triple Play Sports Radio Network starting at 9:30 on Saturday. When we come back, Tua Tagovailoa is the new Dolphins quarterback, but was it a surprise to Ryan Fitzpatrick and maybe the rest of the Dolphins team? We're going to find out next. Later on, don't forget Tom Dorado's coming up in hour number 2. We'll see what he has to say about Oklahoma State this weekend with Iowa State, as well as get his reaction to last night. The Dodgers lost, and everybody rejoiced. All still to come on the afternoon sports drive here on the Triple Play Sports Radio Network. We're at Exchange Bank, and we're back after this.
You can call till your voice is running out, but I can't hear you now. I can't hear you now. I'm somewhere far away where you can't bring me down, so I can't hear you now. I can't hear you now. Yeah, run it back, tell them what I'm coming at.
Welcome back. Afternoon Sports Drive, Triple Play Sports Radio Network. Patrick Wheeler and Levi Peckinpah hanging out with you on this Thursday. I am live on location at Exchange Bank and Trust here at 4301 West 6th in Stillwater. They also have locations on North Main in Stillwater here in town, as well as in downtown Perry. So many different places you can go to get what you need at Exchange Bank. We'll be coming up in just a little bit. We will talk to Andrea Bindley about some of the services they offer at Exchange Bank and why you should consider checking Exchange Bank out, because I've already looked at all of these amenities that they offer, as well as all of these deals they've got going on with what you can do with debit and checking, all that good stuff, and it is fantastic. I'm telling you, this is really good stuff. We're going to get to that here in just a little bit. But first of all, before we do that, Levi, we found out yesterday, maybe it was a couple days ago, but we found out this week officially that Tua comes in and he's going to take over for the Dolphins after the bye week. Okay.
Yep.
And we knew before the season started that was probably where you would circle on the schedule and say, okay, that's probably going to be the case. But I think we also thought by that time they wouldn't be 3-3, right? We figured they would have a worse schedule or a worse record. They wouldn't be 500, and they certainly wouldn't be second place in that division behind only the Bills.
Yeah, we thought the Dolphins would Dolphins by now.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. And we thought that the Patriots would, or at least I did, would be in a better situation than they are at this moment. But that's not the case. So you get Fitzpatrick to come in and get you guys to 3-3 if you're the Dolphins, and everything's starting to look okay. And the reason I say that is because it wasn't just a 3-3; it was Fitzmagic playing really well and playing good enough to where there was no reason really at that point in my mind to move him out of that starting position. Now I know there's people that will hear this, but oh, Patrick, you were crying for Tua to take over in the offseason. I said, yeah, I was. But again, I didn't expect the Dolphins to be in second place, thanks to, in large part, Ryan Fitzpatrick. So with that being the case right now, it's not just that he's done a good job. He's played hard, and I think he's played for the spot. He knew that Tua coming in was going to be the guy, and he knew that he was a placeholder for the Dolphins. But the way he was playing, I don't know about you, Levi, what you saw out of him, but I saw this as, look, I do not want my spot taken at this point. I'm going to get you guys, I'm going to get our team to 500 here in the bye week, and we're going to start rolling really good after we get another week's rest. And I think he was thoroughly disappointed here. Obviously, we'll hear in just a minute, but I think he was not just disappointed, but also surprised.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think anybody at that position, especially with how long of a career Ryan Fitzpatrick has had would be incredibly shocked. I mean, he was having the big Fitzmagic moment that he's had over the past couple of years and truly shining. And I think no one expected the Dolphins to be going 3-3. And if you have, I would like to know what kind of wizardry you have so I can know the lottery numbers. But I know he'd be shocked, especially with how things are going. But the thing is, it was inevitable. No matter how you slice the cake, right. Even if Ryan Fitzpatrick was somehow the MVP, he's not the future. 37, going to be 38 at Thanksgiving time. He was not the future. And yeah, he was playing good, but there's also some games where he was playing terrible. It wasn't all sunshine and rainbows. And the thing is even if the Dolphins somehow clutch out a wild card spot, they are not winning the Super Bowl. I repeat, they will be not winning the Super Bowl. So why not start your young guy and get him some touches? He sat 6 games behind Fitzpatrick, and now you can have Tua going in there and start and get the rhythm going with the offense.
Yeah, and I understand that argument, and I think that's probably the way to go. I mean, obviously, the Dolphins were looking at this, as we said, at this time on the schedule, saying that, okay, he's going to get a couple of weeks before we insert him in here. I think, if you're being honest, they probably expected to be somewhere around 2-4, or maybe even 1-5. But they come in at 3-3, and they're like, maybe it's even better here. Fitzpatrick won't like it. Well, we're going to throw him in there. And so while I do understand that argument, I'll tell you in just a minute why maybe it's not exactly the right decision at this moment. But first, take a listen to what Ryan Fitzpatrick had to say when he found out that he was no longer the starter. Mind you, this came after a shutout of the Jets, by the way. That's not saying a ton, but he looked really good, obviously, against the Jets for the most part, as anybody would. However, he's coming in, another win. He gets him at 3-3, so he finds out, and this is what he had to say.
My heart just hurt all day. Like it was heartbreaking for me. And Flo kind of said what he said and said what he said to you guys as well. And that's the decision and the direction that the organization is going in. And obviously, we've talked in the past, me and you guys, about, how I'm the placeholder, and this eventually was going to happen no matter, it was just a matter of kind of when, not if. And, it still just it broke my heart yesterday, and it's a tough thing for me to hear and to now have to deal with, but I'm going to do my best with it. Yeah, I mean, we've talked, this profession is interesting in that, I got fired yesterday, and then my day of work today consisted of me in Zoom meetings listening to the guy that fired me, and then locked in a spaced out room with my replacement for 4 hours today. So there aren't a whole lot of jobs that are like that, but I know how difficult it is to play the quarterback position. I know that room is so important to the guy that's playing in terms of everybody having your back and pulling in the same direction. So today's the day to digest a little bit, and we'll get away for the bye a little bit. But once this thing starts up again, I've got to do my best for Tua to help him out.
Yeah, and so you hear, first of all, I listened to that, I'm like, that is hard to hear, okay, mm-hmm. Because the dude is in complete shock about it. And then that's why I think even he didn't really probably expect to be 3-3 at this point in the season. So he gets them to this opportunity, and he's like going in the bye week thinking, you know what, maybe I did just buy myself another week or two, because even he admitted there, I'm the placeholder, I know that, Tua's going to be the
mm-hmm.
guy. But maybe I did enough to kind of keep me in the driver's seat at this moment, and they come in and basically say, Flores is like, nah, dude, look, Tua's our guy, and we're going to him. Thanks for everything you've done, but we think this is the better option right now. And he's obviously hurt. So I hate it for Fitzpatrick just because from a competitor standpoint, I think he really is one of the best. He gets overshadowed because we know he has been a journeyman in the NFL, mm-hmm. and he's been on some bad teams. But he's a true competitor. The thing that I want to throw to you, Levi, which I think is why the Dolphins might be taking a little bit of a risk here with Tua at this point, is because if he doesn't pan out, and all of a sudden he comes in and let's say he drops the first 2 he plays and you're 3-5 or something like that, then what? Do you go back to Fitzmagic? Because I feel like at that point, you talk about creating dysfunction. To me, this is bringing Tua in and basically saying you're in and it's win or lose with you from now on. I think that's kind of what they're trying to get at Fitzpatrick too, is basically saying, hey, he could come in and lose 3 or 4 in a row, but sorry, man, this is his job. And I think that's where you're getting the true pain for Fitzmagic. You can hear in his voice there.
Well, now you also got to think about this from Tua's perspective. I know everybody's going to talk about from Ryan Fitzpatrick's perspective because, I mean, he's the guy that we truly know more about when it comes to beating NFL talent because, hey, he's actually played NFL games and Tua just had his first NFL snap against the Jets. So I'm looking at this from Tua's perspective, and you get to see the mentor, the guy you've bonded with for months now, and he got his job ripped away from him, and now it said, hey, kid, now you got to do this, and all the pressure's on him. And if you do go 3-5, no one's going to be crazy like, oh, bench him, because then that's going to stifle all the confidence and then could turn into a waste of a draft pick. You could, if you try to stifle his confidence, congratulations, you have the next Josh Rosen, Dwayne Haskins type of Sam Darnold type of quarterback where you just stifled all of his confidence and now he's downhill like everybody else. So this is the time where they said, okay, we know Ryan Fitzpatrick, it's definitely tough to deal with. And even though I'm rooting for Tua Tagovailoa and seeing Ryan Fitzpatrick getting his job taken away from him, I hate it, but I know that this is the move that the Miami Dolphins, if they want to build for the future, they have to make. We make fun of several teams going for veteran quarterbacks instead of going with the future. Well, this is the opportunity for the Miami Dolphins to go with the future. And why not have this be the proper moment when you've got a lot of young guys growing with the Miami Dolphins, and now you can have them merge with the young quarterback and start to get stuff going. And then they can eventually get him an offensive line, because that's the one thing he also needs the most right now.
That's the question, though. At 3-3, should they be looking at the future and building for the future? I mean, right now, if I'm sitting here at 3-3 and watching what the Patriots managed to do last week, which was just awful, so they're not even all that competitive at the moment. I have to think that for the Dolphins' perspective, they're looking at this as an opportunity, especially with that extra playoff spot available this year. It maybe shouldn't be a whole, let's start, trying to build right now, and maybe next year we get it going. To me, it's more of a, let's take the bull by the horns here, 3-3, roll with what we know is good. And that's why I'm thinking maybe going into next week, because they play the Rams, first of all, off their bye week. So you come in, you play them, and maybe it would be better if you actually started Fitzmagic out there. And last week you got a chance to throw Tua in garbage time, and that at least lets him know, hey, he is ready to go at any moment. You throw Fitzmagic out there. If it works, awesome. If not, you get Tua at any second there to get back in the game, and maybe he takes over at that point. But I think they should really be focusing on where they are right now as an opportunity with everything else going on in the AFC North, because the Patriots are just not the same team. The Bills have dropped 2 straight and have shown some weaknesses. This is, if I'm the Dolphins, I'm thinking it may be time to strike. And I don't know if throwing Tua out there, especially to start off with the Rams of all teams defensively, okay? You got Aaron Donald coming in for a nice little snack there. With that being the case, I'm just not sure if it's the best move overall. Now, if he comes out and just dominates and he's slinging the ball around and he's running and he's looking really good against that Rams defense and everybody shuts up, including me. But I'm just not sure that I would go away from Fitzpatrick at this moment if I'm looking ahead to this year and saying we're not 1-5, we're not 2-4, we're at second place in the AFC North, and we're fairly confident we could beat the Patriots when it comes around. We're fairly confident we can maybe even beat the Bills down the road again at some point. So all that being thrown in, I just don't know if they're looking at the right scenario here.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Once you get out of their division, say if they get lucky and you keep Ryan Fitzpatrick in and they get a wild card, oh, congratulations, they did that. Then they get smacked by whoever else is in the division. They are not going to the Super Bowl this year. So, yes, I love Ryan Fitzpatrick, but in the end, playing Ryan Fitzpatrick does not matter. I would rather have Tua Tagovailoa go out there and struggle, get his hits in, and get his experience, and, hey, get a better draft pick to get him some other people to play with. We all love Ryan Fitzpatrick. I'm not saying I don't, but if you keep Tua Tagovailoa back, I can understand you could gain a lot of experience, gain a lot of knowledge from sitting behind people. I mean, you look at Patrick Mahomes, but there's also another way of taking a little bit of that. You sit behind him, sit behind a guy for a little bit, then you put him out there and actually get the in-game experience. Do the Lamar Jackson thing where Lamar Jackson sat behind Joe Flacco and then he played and started. But with how things are for the Dolphins, the difference is the Dolphins were never supposed to be in this spot. We were supposed to be seeing the Patriots at the wild card spot and not the Dolphins. The Dolphins are lucky to even be here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take advantage of this opportunity, give Tua Tagovailoa some shots on the field, and yes, it's against Aaron Donald, but guess what? Once Ryan Fitzpatrick is gone, he's going to be seeing Aaron Donald no matter what. So let him take his shot.
So you think it's more of a where they're looking at the way I am in terms of we need to strike now, and they think their best chance to strike is with Tua instead of Fitzmagic at this moment?
Well, to me, it just doesn't matter. Even if you start Ryan Fitzpatrick for a while and say they make it, I mean, they're going to get smacked no matter what. If Tua does it and they go to the wild card with him, they're going to get smacked. The season's going to be a wash, and they're not going to have that much success in the end. So just let Tua Tagovailoa go out there and get his experience.
Well, let's listen to what Tua had to say, too, after finding out the news that he's going to be the starter, because there's an interesting thing he says about Ryan Fitzpatrick in his comments. Here's Tua.
Yeah, I was very excited. That's news that I think anyone would love to hear, being named the starter at any position. But, at the same time, I also felt for Fitz as well, and me and Fitz had a conversation, just about all of this. But, like I've continued to say, I mean, although it kind of hurts me in a way to see Fitz hurt, I'm just very, very, lucky to have someone like Fitz in my corner, regardless of the situation we're in right now. He's just... I hate to say it like this, but it is like this. It's like a father and son.
Yeah, and it's interesting there, not just the end part, but what he said about it hurts to see Fitz hurt. And I thought that right there was, first of all, it's pretty mature, but at the same time, Levi, when I hear that, I'm thinking this might be a little bit of an awkward situation. Now, I feel like Fitzmagic has been around enough and is mature enough, and he even said there in the last part of his audio was, look, now I got to get back to the role of helping Tua as much as possible. And that's what you want to hear from a mature veteran. But I think there is a little bit of maybe this really awkward position where Fitz says what he does, and he was transparent as hell, okay? I mean, he was really transparent. He was like, look, I was basically in that meeting room with the guy that fired me, and I had to sit right next to the guy who's taking my job and act like everything was cool, and it really wasn't. So you're getting that mindset from him, but at the same time trying to teach Tua, things here and there. And now Tua's over here like, yeah, I mean, I love hearing from you, and this is great. I'm by the way, really sorry I took your job. So I'm kind of seeing this as maybe an awkward sort of transition, but eventually, and I'm hoping you're right, it's going to work out down the road to where the Dolphins are actually a team that starts to matter in the NFL.
Think about it also this way. For all the veterans in the NFL, the majority of the time, not only is this an awkward situation for Tua, it's an awkward situation for all the NFL viewers, because the majority of the time with a veteran in the NFL, when they're about this age, they're done. They should be packing their bags. We should all be waving bye-bye, and we don't hear from them ever again. I mean, whenever you go down the list of NFL veterans and you see them just go one by one, you don't bat an eyelash. The thing is, Ryan Fitzpatrick is still playing decent all the way at almost 38, and he's gotten a bond over these past couple years for being the veteran that can have some good games and have some good moments. And now, since he's actually having a Fitzpatrick type of moment, and of course it was against the Jets, but it's still a Fitzpatrick type of moment, he's connected with everybody. He's connected with Tua. And now to say, hey, we know that you've had your moment, but don't forget, there's still a guy who's the future in Tua Tagovailoa here. We're going to put him there. It's an awkward moment for Tua, and it's an awkward moment for all of us, because nobody wants to see Ryan Fitzpatrick go. No one does. Even me, even though I will say Tua Tagovailoa is the future, no one wants to see him go, because he'll still give you your great moments, and he's still a good quarterback that can start on a good chunk of teams in the NFL, including the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that his talent is not terrible, and he's good enough at times, and on top of it, he's such a likable guy, right? He's such a likable character in the NFL. That everybody loves him, loves what he's done. He obviously has an awesome personality. And when that happens, we know it's a business, and I know it is, and it's cutthroat. But when you hear a guy be as transparent as Fitzmagic was, that's tough to hear sometimes. However, I do hope Tua does succeed with the Dolphins, because they do have an opportunity this year in that division to make some noise, I believe, if the Patriots keep floundering like they did on Sunday.
Well,
when we come, go ahead.
It was kind of like, I want to equivalent it to whenever Andrew Luck kind of retired. It was one of those very awkward moments that nobody wanted to have, but because of Andrew Luck's health and how things were, it was inevitable, and it's the same thing with Miami. It was inevitable. No one's liked it, but it's something that you have to do as an organization.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It is just a really awkward, weird situation at this moment. When we come back, we will get to hopefully talk with Andrea Bindley, come in and talk about everything going on here at Exchange Bank. And then later on in hour number 2, coming up in about 15 minutes, Tom Dorado is going to join the show. We'll see what he thinks is going to happen this Saturday with Oklahoma State and Iowa State, as well as his World Series reaction, because I know he was glued to the television last night. What's he going to do tonight now that his Giants are on, but there's no World Series game? I'm going to try to see if I can get him to promise me to watch a little bit of it. I know that'll be a tough task, but that's going to be my goal in hour number 2. Also to come on the afternoon sports drive here on the Triple Play Sports Radio Network. We're at Exchange Bank, and we're back after this.
It's been a too long time with no peace of mind. I'm ready for the times to get better. I've got to tell you.
Welcome back to the afternoon sports drive, Triple Play Sports Radio Network. Patrick Wheeler hanging out here at Exchange Bank here in Stillwater, the 4301 West 6th Street location. Also, there's a location in North Main in Stillwater, as well as downtown Perry. And joining me now is Andrea Bindley. Said that correct, right?
Yeah,
I nailed it.
Got it.
All right, perfect. I'm not ever someone that's going to brag about getting names right, but here I did. You got it right. So
it's a challenge for sure.
Yeah, it is. So we have Andrea joining us now here on the afternoon sports drive. First of all, love this. What is this, meeting conference room?
Yeah, this is our Oklahoma room. It's
Oklahoma
open for,
room.
Yeah, we call it the Oklahoma room.
Okay.
And we it's open to the public, and a lot of people have meetings. There's a lot of nonprofits and different organizations that use the room for their purposes. So yeah, we get a lot of use out of this room.
And you can kind of shift it into a makeshift studio here too.
Yeah, actually, yes, it is. Yeah, it can be a studio. We meet loan committee weekly. We meet in this room.
Okay.
And so it's a kind of a dual purpose for a lot of things.
Yeah, absolutely. No, we really enjoy it here, and the setting is great. And I've been looking at some of the things you guys are offering here at Exchange, and one of them is the orange card. You tell me a little bit about that, because I know that whenever I used to do the debit card, and it used to be they hand you the card and it's just a plain old, it says our bank, and it's kind of blah. But now it's like we can customize it, we can get your color, and obviously everyone around here bleeds orange, so this is perfect.
Absolutely, yeah. We released the card a couple years ago, just because we are in Stillwater, such a great place to have an orange card. But yeah, definitely, you can come in, we can put a picture of your family on the card. We can personalize your debit card to whatever you want it to be. But we have the new orange card, and it's been a hit for Stillwater residents for sure. We've been doing a lot of orange cards.
Do you get a lot of students come in here and do that too?
Oh yeah, we get some student population.
I can see that being a thing.
Usually it's alumni.
Okay.
A lot of alumni.
Yeah.
They like to bleed their orange even to their bank card.
Sure, absolutely. Andrea Bindley here with me on the afternoon sports drive here at Exchange Bank, and one of the other things I know that it's super important for you guys at the Stillwater locations as well as Perry is the fact that the customer service department is right here, right in Stillwater.
Absolutely, yeah. If you many times when you're calling into Exchange Bank, we have a department right here in Stillwater, actually located at our Main Street location, and they're actually taking all of the phone calls that are coming into the bank, and so. They are located here, and we're proud that we can answer and service our customers here locally, starting with a phone call.
Right, so you're not going to get a robot answering the phone and all this.
you are not going to get a robot. You're going to get an actual person that's in our Main Street location.
I'm telling you, that's a huge deal. Anyone that knows about banking, usually calling one of these national banks or something like that, a lot of times you're going to get the please hold for 5 minutes. It turns into 45 minutes, and you can't get your issue resolved.
Absolutely, yeah. That's what we're trying to avoid for sure, is for you to speak to somebody locally that can take care of your problem when you call in.
Absolutely, yeah. And so when you're over here in Exchange, you can also do something that I really enjoy as well, that I know they can set you up, and that's the mobile deposit. Is being able to, when you get your check and you're on payday and you don't have time to physically swing by the bank, let me throw that on my phone. I know how to take a picture of it, get it on there, and it's in my account, right?
Absolutely, yes. We do mobile deposit, and obviously it's become a more popular feature here in the recent months. But yeah, you take a picture of your check and it gets deposited in your account. It's a very convenient feature for many people, and what we're finding is the younger generation, that's what they're using. They're not coming to the bank as frequently.
Hey, I mean, they get on the phone, and it's like you said, it's just so easy because they're already on it anyways. Everything else is there. Why not be able to just take a picture of my check, throw it in there, you've got the money in your account for the weekend, and you're ready to go, right?
Absolutely.
It's so easy.
Yep, it's super easy.
Yeah, no doubt. And when the other things that Exchange Bank offers, I was looking at that I really like, is the free bill pay on your checking accounts.
Yeah.
Tell me about that too.
So I love bill pay, free bill pay. That's a big deal for you to be able to receive it free. For first and foremost, a lot of banks charge for that service.
Sure.
But it's so convenient, saves stamps. You can just get online and pay a bill. We actually have the feature where you can pay a person to person directly now, kind of like the Zelle, some of those features. And so I have my bills set up. I go in every month, pay my bills, and I can control when those funds are released versus somebody just automatically debiting my account.
How easy is that?
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't have to go to the post office to buy stamps.
Oh my goodness, that's so much easier. I think we've all learned during this coronavirus stuff is that we're able to do so much now mobily and not even have to actually physically go to places. It cuts off your errand list a little bit too. But I know it's just one of the many features you guys offer here. So tell me a little bit about what you've had to do in terms of the new type of parameters you've set up here at the bank with this COVID-19 and everything.
So like everyone else, have had to adapt. And thankfully we had some things already in motion, like mobile deposit, that we could easily pivot to and allow our customers to still be serviced.
Yeah.
Here at the bank, we actually shut down for a couple weeks, and we're not able to have customers in the lobby. A couple months. Actually, it felt like it went by really quickly.
Man, yeah.
But we were shut down a couple months, but we've been open, back since May, and we've done what we can to adapt to our customers. One thing is electronic signatures for loan docs. We had that technology available, but we weren't using it as much as we're using it now. So it's forced us to use some of the things that we already had, to use those features so that it's convenient for our customers. And so we've done that. We've pivoted very quickly. That's the beauty of being a locally owned bank, is that we can get our management together and pivot very quickly to meet the needs of our customers, and that's what we've done.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, if you're somebody out there right now that say they need to come in or they need to call you guys and maybe set up a loan or try to get a loan for anything right now, what's the accessibility like for that?
So we have loan applications on our website. You can go on electronically, fill out your loan application. It's sent to us electronically, and we can do everything via phone.
Okay.
We can also, if you prefer to come walk in the bank, we can meet with you person to person, or whatever adaptation we need to make so that you feel comfortable coming and doing business with us, we can definitely do. And we've adapted to many of those features in the last several months.
No, I think that's certainly one of the highlights, is that you guys are able to do so much customer service and be able to, as you said, adapt to different situations, individual needs, all right here in town, which is making it so much easier for anybody that needs anything done. And you guys have the wide range that you offer here of your services, as well as you just heard her talk about the adjustments they've made with the COVID-19 pandemic and everything like that as well. Tell me the website that we can go to find out all the information here.
It is www.easybanking.net.
Okay, there you go. So that's
You can fill out a residential mortgage loan application. If you need a new car, a personal loan, you can fill out all those applications online.
Perfect. Anything else?
No, I think that's it. There's
Awesome.
a lot of other cool stuff on there.
Yeah, no, that's you got to visit that website. Say it again one more time so everyone knows it.
www.easybanking.net.
Perfect. There you go. You can check out all their services they offer online, as well as all the mobile banking, everything else. Get set up with one of those orange cards. Those are awesome. And even if you don't want to go orange, you can do, like you said, the family. Probably even throw the puppy on there or something, right? Anything like that. Yeah. All that good stuff.
I have a picture of my family on
There you go.
mine, so
yeah, you
show my kiddos off.
You're paying for the kids, and at the same time, you get them on the debit card. Yeah, I like that. Andrea, appreciate your time, and thanks again for the setup. It's awesome.
Thank you, guys.
All right, that's Andrea Bindley. We appreciate her here on the Afternoon Sports Drive. When we come back in hour number 2, Tom Dorado is going to join us. We'll talk about OSU football and Iowa State, as well as get his reaction to the World Series. We got a Thursday night football game tonight. Now, while it's not a big-time game by any means, we'll still give you predictions because, as Levi knows, I am dominating him in the predictions category, and I will continue to do that starting tonight. So we'll get you all that in hour number 2 here on the Triple Play Sports Radio Network. We're at Exchange Bank, and we're back after this.
Feel like I'm gonna puke, cause my taxes are due. Do my best, will begin with a 1 or a 2. Been a hell of a ride, but I'm thinking it's time to grow.
Metronome.
Man, I'm up to something. Ooh-dee-la-dee-do, thank you all for coming. I hope you like the show, cause it's on a budget. So ooh-dee-la-dee-do, yeah, come on, here we go, yeah, come on.
Here we go.
Welcome back into the Afternoon Sports Drive, Triple Play Sports Radio Network. It's hour number 2. Patrick Wheeler, Levi Peckinpah back in studio as I'm here in Exchange Bank in the Oklahoma room is the official name of the room I am in, and it is fantastic. Now, don't let anybody get in a tizzy here. It doesn't mean the Oklahoma Sooners or anything like that. It's just the good old state, and it's the room here that I'm in. It's just a conference room, meeting room. It's really beautiful here at Exchange Bank, and of course, appreciate Andrea Bindley coming on there with me in the final segment of the last hour to talk about all the amazing services they offer here at Exchange. Again, 4301 West 6th, and also North Main and Stillwater in downtown Perry. And now, join us in the hour number 2. Tom Dorado is in studio. Tommy D, what is going on?
How are you? Trying to keep from blowing away in the wind, man. We got a big old wind going on out there, but you know what? At least it's warm. I think that won't be the case in about 24 hours, I guess, though, right?
I hope you get all of your. I hope you got all of your yard work and playing with the dog outside and all that in. Cause
I was going to call you from the backyard, but I thought you could hear me on the cell phone and you'd make fun of me, so I thought I'd come in anyway.
You know, I'd make fun of you anyways, though.
You do, that's true. So I should just trim the trees and said, I just can't make it today. I just can't make it today.
Oh, Tommy D, appreciate it as always. Obviously, you coming in and giving us your best advice about what the heck's going to happen, first of all, with Oklahoma State this Saturday. We'll talk about that. I know I got to get your World Series reaction, but I want to tell you what I told Levi is my ultimate goal today, for me to you, is since there's no World Series game tonight and your New York Giants play tonight,
yes, sir,
I want you to promise me that you will turn it over and at least watch a series or two of that game.
I might late in the night because I got some things I got to get done. Maybe in the 9:15 area. I might just turn on to see what the score is.
Or if you want to, Tom, what you can do is you can turn on the Oklahoma Sports Student section, listen to me.
I could do that, but you'll be talking about it play-by-play, though, right?
Oh, no. We'll be going through our rest of our NFL predictions for the rest of the week. We'll be glancing up at it, but honestly, I'd rather be watching paint dry.
Well, I think, the NFL may get a lot more viewers tonight because I got to think not too many people are going to watch the debate again, the Jerry Springer Show, Part 3. So maybe they'll watch NFL.
Is Survivor not on or anything?
Something else is on. I mean, the World Series had to take a break. It's going to work out pretty well. I think it's the only series that took a break, and they're playing it like everybody flew to Tampa Bay, last night, even though they're staying in Arlington, but, this was a travel day. Well, they're not traveling anywhere. They're just taking a day off. But Tampa Bay will be the home team the next 3 games. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'll be, obviously, as I told Levi, too, with Tampa Bay coming back to even the series, I think America kind of won last night when the Dodgers lost. So,
now, did I not tell you that would be Tampa Bay's best chance of winning? There were a lot of things that I felt like played into their hands. Number one, Blake Snell is great, and he did a good job while he was in there. He certainly kept that lineup from the Dodgers at bay, at arm's length. But it was predicted they were going to go Johnny Holstaff, which they did. I mean, Gonsolin didn't even make it through the second inning. But when you bring 7 pitchers, I don't care what level it is, whether it's college, pros, you're counting on 7 guys to be on top of their game that night. And if 6 of them are and 1 of them isn't, like it happened with May, then you're going to give up some runs. You're going to lose the game. Now, Dodgers hung in there and came back, but it was a perfect setup for the Rays. They got the lead, which they need to have. They got a good start, which they got, and they may get another good start Friday with Morton, who is really, I don't think he's given up a run yet in postseason. But if they get the lead and they get a good start, then they got a great bullpen that they can turn it over to lock you down. So all the things kind of fell into place. Patrick, I thought they would. Like I told you last night, I thought that was their best chance. But what the Dodgers took a chance on doing was going Johnny Holstaff last night and hoping for the best. Maybe they could outslug and outscore and win a 10-9 game. But now they got, at least in their mind, they got their pitching rotation set for the rest of the games. You go Buehler. He's got Buehler going on Friday.
Buehler.
Yeah, that Buehler. Urias going on Saturday, and then Kershaw coming back on Sunday, if in fact that's the last game. Now, if it doesn't turn out to where that would be the last game, you still would have Buehler in a 7-game scenario if it goes 7, which would be a week from last night. So they had to give up something to get that rotation in order, but they may have to come back with another Johnny Holstaff if in fact it goes into the 6th game. And I don't know that that's going to work for them, depending on what Tampa Bay throws out there. But, give them credit. They came back. The Dodgers almost came back and threw a scare into them. But, man, they can throw some arms out of that pen from Tampa Bay. Man.
Oh, yeah, the main thing for Tampa Bay is they were just allowed to get out front. Once you allow a team like Tampa Bay, they have a lot of...
Yeah, when Lau hits home, you know it's going to be a different night for you. I mean, the guy, he didn't hardly have a hit, much less a home run, and he puts them on top, and then he has another one later. I mean, 2 home runs, 3 RBIs. But they front run, and that's what they do, and they win 4-1, 3-2 games because they've got good starting pitching, which we've seen. Glasnow, Snell, Morton. Those guys can get you through a good 4 or 5. Now, if you got the lead, now you can really turn the screws up and bring in those guys from the bullpen and lock it down the rest of the way.
Oh, yeah. Once you start in the lead, once you get that lead, it's just gripping onto it as hard as you can and making sure that the Dodgers don't come back with some usual L.A. magic. But thank goodness for Tampa Bay, they were able to lock down this game. And now like you're saying, with the Dodgers most likely securing their lineup for a while, it could be now a tough chance for Tampa Bay to take another game. But I mean, if Tampa Bay can continue this momentum from this game and take it forward, they might be able to again try to have a couple other games where they take the lead early and just try to hold on to it.
Well, it's more difficult obviously to get a lead off of Walker Buehler than it is Gonsolin. I mean,
yeah.
But and that's the thing, boys. I think that maybe, and I understand the whole let's put Walker Buehler back here a game because we want to get our rotation set up the right way, and that's fine. But I think there's also a little bit of an overthinking situation that we may have seen from Dave Roberts in this by going with the bullpen and having to throw as many pitchers as he did. Because as I told you, Tom, yesterday, if you go ahead and you throw Buehler out there, he gives you your best shot to go up 2-0. Next thing you know, I just don't see the Rays overcoming a 2-0 lead. It would take a lot for them to be able to come back, as you said, with just clearly not the better team. We know the Dodgers are the dominant team really in this series, I think. So with that being the case, and he decided to go bullpen and they end up losing, and now you got to come back and the series is tied. It's basically 0-0. I think it was sort of an overthink situation, and I don't know what it is about this year, but throughout sports, we have seen coaches, managers in baseball, a lot this year overthink situations. Remember in the NFL, Matt Rule did it in Week 1 when he ran the fullback instead of CMC. We saw Mike McCarthy do it in Week 1. Mike Zimmer did it a couple weeks ago with the Seahawks, and now we see Dave Roberts, who I think is looking maybe too far down the line, where he could have tossed Buehler out there and said, go at it, let's go up 2-0, and let's take this thing from here, because last night was a chance for them to kind of put the nail in the coffin to me, and I don't think Roberts took that opportunity when he had it.
I'm not sure Buehler was ready, though.
Really?
He was coming off short rest. That wasn't his full 5 days. So he probably, would not have given you more than maybe 3 or 4 innings at best on short rest, and you're right back into the bullpen situation again. So, was it calculated? Yeah. And was it a risk? I guess. But and did they give it up? I think in Roberts' mind was, look, if we can battle up with Snell for 4 or 5 innings and get his pitch count up and get him out of there, then we'll have a shot at whoever they bring in out of the pen, although their pen is very good. But maybe we can just outscore them this game and hope that our parade of pitchers out of our pen will just kind of keep them where they are. But May, the long-haired redhead that they got, he hasn't come in and done anything yet that would leave you to believe that he's somebody you would trust. And they hit him. They kind of hit him around pretty good when he was in there. I think he ended up giving up 3 runs in just 2 innings. But that's the downside of Johnny Holstaff. Man, you can use 7 pitchers, but all 7 have to be at the top of their game to get you through that. And if one screws up, now all of a sudden you're in a situation where, oh man, we can't recover, especially if they screw up late. So was it a risk? But I don't think Buehler was ready to go on full rest last night.
Maybe he wasn't ready to go for a full workload, but just throwing him in there for, even like you said, if he gave you 4 innings, then you can just rely on that off and say, okay, we got our best on the mound, arguably our best pitcher. I mean, let's be honest, on the mound. And with that being the case, we have a better chance to go up 2-0. You end up throwing Tony Gonsolin, and he's pulled after 4 outs, and then you have 4 pitchers used in the first 5 innings. So that's where I'm kind of getting with the whole maybe this was overthought just a bit instead of keeping it somewhat simple, which we might be going away from in some of these managers and coaches' minds a little bit. However, I do think, Tom, as well as Levi here, that this was such a huge statement for the Rays to make sure they didn't go down 0-2, because I'm telling you guys, I don't know if you agree with this, I just don't see them having any chance of coming back if they're down 0-2. The spirits are crushed, and against this team, with Buehler comes in Game 3, that was kind of all she wrote if that ended up happening to me.
Well, if it did happen that way, Dodgers would have beaten your best 2 pitchers and you in successive nights, which would have been a morale crusher, I would think. I mean, to beat Glasnow and Snell back-to-back, that would probably be a huge hit to their psyche for sure. But at the same time, I just don't think Roberts overthought it. I think this was the position he was in because of he had short rest Buehler. Now, do you want to go short rest Buehler, or do you want to have a 5-day rest Buehler when you put him back out there again? I thought the hope was there that they could outslug him and just beat him by a run, and they almost did. They almost caught him when it looked like they were down. So I think it wasn't even a calculated risk. I mean, this is something that I'm sure Roberts had designed early on, that this is what we're going to do, and now we're going to try to get our starters lined up with our bullpen for games 3, 4, and 5.
Oh, yeah. It's mainly you played the long game, and that's the smart thing, especially against the Tampa Bay team that's extremely young, still trying to figure it out. A lot of people surprised that Tampa Bay was able to get up here, and now it's just playing around with the lineups and like you're getting everything perfectly lined up, so that way the Dodgers have the best chance to, if they wanted to, just go 3, 4, 5 and try to knock it out of the park.
And there's no assurance, fellas, that just because he lined it up this way, that they wouldn't get the Buehler, that they wouldn't get the Urias, they wouldn't get the Kershaw second time around. I mean, just because you got your guys lined up doesn't mean you're automatically going to win games 3, 4, and 5.
But it gives you the best shot,
but that would be your best opportunity, at least from the mound situation, to get that done. Glasnow will roll around again. Probably he'd roll around again, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So he would probably roll around because he went against Kershaw in Game 1. So Tampa Bay still has enough arms to get in there and mix it up with you. So it's not a sure thing just because he did it this way. And you could argue, I mean, I could see your side to the point of, do you want to give up a game, quote unquote, to get your rotation set? But I do think he felt like deep down inside, we're just going to have to get the bats going and win a 10-9 game or 11-10 game, and it didn't work out that way.
And maybe so, and if the Rays come back and win this thing, we look back at this game and say, okay, maybe there was a little bit of overthinking there, or if they go the opposite way, then all of a sudden Tom is right. But did you guys see the Will Smith home run? The fan caught, and then when he caught it, he threw his glove back onto the
What
field. You guys
in
see
the
that?
world was he doing?
That's crazy.
You
What?
don't throw the glove. It was so funny the way that Joe Bug described it, and in this moment of ecstasy that this fan had, he
That's
launched the
about
glove
right.
back on the field.
I couldn't. And was it Rosarina was probably stunned when he saw a
He
glove
was.
come flying out of the stands. I don't know what the guy was thinking, other he just
don't either.
wasn't thinking.
Just why is your first motion to then throw your glove?
I don't know. I have no idea. I mean, geez Louise. I saw that and
Yeah.
I thought, well, But he got the glove
thought that
back, I
was-
guess, didn't he? He got his
Yeah.
own glove
I'd hope
back.
so.
Yeah.
Not sure I'd seen that one before. Also, we got the numbers ratings-wise for Game 1, and how about Game 1 of the World Series with a record low in viewership? It only received under 10 million viewers. We had 9,195,000 total viewers in that ball game in Week 1 or Game 1, and that is the lowest since 2008 in the Game 3 loss by the Rays to the Philadelphia Phillies back then with 9,836,000. So the viewership not great there for that first. And I've seen some theories as to why that might be. I think a lot of what we're getting is that fans are simply not as interested anymore because of something that we've talked about multiple times, Tom, and you well know that baseball right now, it's turned into such an analytics game that we also know it's home run or strikeout, and that's about it. And some people just aren't as interested, even if it's the World Series. I'm not sure how big of a draw these two teams would garner nationally either way. But with all those factors thrown in, we do get that low number. I'm slightly expecting it to bump up from the second game now that the Dodgers went up one, and maybe people wanted to see if the Rays could come back. But I don't know. Are you surprised by how low the viewership numbers is?
No, because you also mentioned one of the previous lows included Tampa Bay as well.
Yeah.
They're not a big draw. I mean, they're kind of an afterthought to baseball purists. Oh yeah. Aren't they in the Yeah, they're in the American League. Yeah. But that's something you deal with, and that's one of the things that networks, they have no control over it. But when you get matchups, I mean, the network, in this case Fox, they were hoping that you'd get a L.A. New York Yankees matchup, and
Right.
you'd have a lot of viewers, a lot of eyes on the game. But Tampa Bay is not going to bring you a lot of eyes, and no matter how much you want to talk them up, and how hard they try, and they got good guys, and blah blah blah, they're not common dinner talk. Baseball people don't sit around and talk about the Tampa Bay Rays. Okay, they probably don't even know two guys in the lineup. Whereas if you had gotten a big namer like the Yankees, in which I was half right, I thought it would be the Dodgers and the Yankees. The Yankees couldn't get by the Rays, but I think that would change it. And another thing too, when baseball goes back, and I don't know if it's going to be the same way next year when we return to maybe a normal state. If we do, I think the wild card and then the best of 5 and then the best of 7. That's a lot of games in a row in both leagues that you're trying to get to the World Series, and you get a little fatigue. I mean, I think viewers in this day and age, they might watch it on a Tuesday night, but they're not going to be tuned in again on a Wednesday night. And it seems like baseball has, in my mind, kind of outdone itself with adding extra games and adding extra rounds and extra teams, and not keeping the exclusivity just of a couple of series where people would be tuned in because of the drama. So I don't have any idea what it is. The strikeout home run thing has been around for a couple of years, so
Sure.
I think baseball people are used to that. We don't particularly like it, but that's just the way it is. So we can handle that. But I do think, with all due respect, I mean, Tampa Bay's a small market team, and that was probably a nightmare for Fox that they got in, because they knew right off the bat they would not bring a whole lot of eyes to the table.
Well, and we've also seen Rob Manfred come out and say that he likes these changes and actually hopes that some of these changes they've made will stick around in the future of Major League Baseball, including the extra innings change of having a runner on second base, which
Wow.
we are not a fan of. I mean, that's just it's way too much of a gimmick to me. But the other news is that the designated hitter will probably still only be in the American League unless the players decide to vote on switching that up, which I think they should. But it's going to stay in the American League for now. But I'm telling you guys, if we get a full season, a full season next year, the extra innings rule is back in place where it's a runner on second base, you're not going to be helping, I don't think, your viewership overall for most people.
I wouldn't think. And you're a younger version of me in terms of you don't like gimmicking up a sport just for the sake of attracting the millennials and people who are not purists and don't want to watch games. But, the first two games, now last night there were a lot of runs, the night before there were, but you're also, and I sit there and watch it, but that's 3 hours and 40 minutes to watch a game. People in this day and age don't want to spend 3 hours and 40 minutes doing anything, much less sitting in front of a TV and watching, and what is it, probably an hour's worth of commercials on top of that. So that's probably worked against them. I could have handled the DH either way next year. I guess I've come around to that. I still would, if I had my druthers, I'd rather just keep it in the American League and everybody else play it the way the game was designed to be played in the National League. But the extra inning thing is just, I don't know. I don't know that it'd be interesting because people do everything, right, analytics-wise. But do you think it really shortened a lot of games just because you didn't have 15-inning games, obviously, and you ended extra innings earlier? But that to me is just, we're just getting into the gimmick stage now where I can handle it for this 60 game. I can handle that. But when we get back to the real stuff and we get back to the way things ought to be, now that's one rule I think needs to go by the boards.
Yeah, I'm completely with you on that as well. It's a little over the top, no doubt. When we come back here on the afternoon sports drive, we'll get into what Tom thinks is going to go down this Saturday. It's a big-time matchup, obviously, with Oklahoma State and Iowa State. And then later on, to round out the show, we'll give you our pick for Thursday Night Football, as well as one former Cowboy receiver might just find himself a new home in the NFL. Also to come in the afternoon sports drive. Stay with us. Triple Play Sports Radio Network. Patrick Wheeler, Levi Peckinpah's in studio with Tom Dorado as we keep it rocking here on this Thursday. I'm chilling out in the Oklahoma room here at Exchange Bank, and it's just an awesome setup. Come in and see them. They have all kinds of different amenities you can latch onto right now, including I've seen one of those orange debit cards. It actually is really cool. You want to get in here and get the whole Oklahoma State type style debit card rocking, that's where you got to go. Exchange Bank here, 4301 West 6th, also on North Main in Stillwater and in downtown Perry. Tom, we were talking about it earlier with Oklahoma State and Iowa State this weekend. Obviously, biggest matchup for these two teams, well, at least Oklahoma State so far. And with that being said, we got to hear from yesterday. Cameron Murray came on and talked about, not something I mentioned to you yesterday, which was, look, this defense, they are taking this as an opportunity to come in and let everyone else know in the Big 12 that we know we took care of business against Tulsa and West Virginia and Kansas, but Iowa State comes in here with Brock Purdy and Breece Hall and Charlie Kolar, and you go down the list of the weapons they have, and if they're able to take care of business in this one, all of a sudden it's, wow, this Oklahoma State defense is absolutely for real. People got to start taking this team a little bit more serious. And that's what they're looking to do this Saturday on that side of the ball.
Maybe in the grand scheme of things, that's a good approach. In my mind, they need to worry about the first series against Iowa State and not worry about what people think of them. And that's just that simple. And even if they have a good weekend defensively, then you have to worry about the first series against Texas. It's you're in a run now where you're going to be tested every time out, and how people think about you one way or the other. While it might make you feel good or bad, depending on how you react to it, that can't be the motivation. You got to figure out what the hell to do with Purdy and those three tight ends, and not worry about what people have labeled you as either good, bad, or indifferent as a defense. And I think common sense would tell you this is going to be the toughest test they've had because Iowa State is more balanced than any of the teams that Oklahoma State's played thus far, and they can hurt you in several ways where you just can't load up on we're going to get after the quarterback and they got nothing else to handle you're going to have to handle a couple of things, and it's going to be a brilliant chess match, I think, because we talk about their offensive scheme that incorporates the 3 tight ends, and those 3 tight ends are receivers / blockers. That's the part that people don't take in consideration. Well, you're talking about Kolar at 257, probably more than that. Allen, 250. Shaner, he's up almost 280. These are offensive linemen, basically, who can catch a pass. So on any given play, they're going to block / be a receiver or be a security blanket for Brock Purdy. You look at their numbers, almost a third of their receptions, even more than that, about 40% of their receptions have gone to the tight ends, which I was telling Levi during the break will negate a lot of those plans that you have to rush Purdy and get after him, because it's in and out of his hands in a hurry. They've only given up 4 sacks all year, they being Iowa State, and that's in 4 games. So, and they weren't very good the first game. I think a couple of those came in the first game. So they are good up front, but their scheme is such that you don't have a whole lot of time. I mean, that was always when I was coaching, the worst defensive assignment I used to have was try to find a way to account for a tight end, and that's back when only 1 tight end was there. But a tight end is a difficult chore because he's a blocker, and then sifts out, and he's a receiver all of a sudden. And all you need is 3 or 4 yards from a flip from a quarterback, and you move the sticks. Mm-hmm. And that's what tight ends do. Well, these guys could be a receiver, a blocker, a receiver, or a blocker on the same play.
Oh, yeah.
And when you load up one side of their offense with 2 of those, or maybe 3 of those, now Mr. Hall's got himself a convoy to get himself 3 or 4 yards. So this is a very difficult offense to have to handle. Now, is it flashy? No, not really. It's not like an Oklahoma State where you can throw to Tylan Wallace and Stoner and Johnson and all those guys who can run off and leave you. It's not flashy because they don't have a Spencer Sanders who could run off and leave you, and they sure as hell don't have a Hubbard who could just run off and leave you at any time. But it is an effective offense that if you don't get them in 2nd and long, basically, or 3rd and long, now all of a sudden they're picking away at you little by little. They just move the sticks, move the clock, and they get first downs. And about 40% of their 3rd downs are successful. So teams don't get them off the field very often. This is a nice scheme that they've got. And they got people who could make it work. Hall is just, to me, he's a good back, and he's put on some weight and has a little more savvy than he had a year ago, could stick his nose in there a little bit more this year than he did a year ago. But this is an offense out that's difficult to have to handle if they're dictating tempo, if they're dictating down and distance. If they're not doing that, now they got a hard time keeping up with a high-powered offense. So there's where you're going to have to do a lot more defensively than you've done up till now. You're going to have to get after them and put them in long distances. Throw it away on 1st and 10. Now it's 2nd and 10. They're not built to go 2nd and 10, 3rd and 12 all the time. That's not what they're built to do.
They're built to get you your little yards here, there, and just kind of calculate, just pick and choose their moments here and there. But then again, Matt,
and they're pretty good at that. I mean, Purdy is experienced, that he knows where to go with the ball.
Oh yeah, and then you have the brilliant mastermind of it all, Matt Campbell, who I continuously say is one of the best coaches in the Big 12. And honestly, Iowa State should lock him up for as long as they can, because if not, he might be going to the NFL. But when you have a mastermind like Matt Campbell, who's been able to get this 3 tight end scheme that you truly don't see almost anywhere else, and has been able to be so efficient with it, it's kind of insane. And now you have to have all these guys go up against these 3 tight ends. And like Tom, you and me were talking about, a guy like Malcolm Rodriguez, with all the strength in the world that he has, it's going to be hard to go up against a guy who's 6'6", 6'7", has about a half a foot on you, and where Brock Purdy can just easily toss it over and just give it to Charlie Kolar, and you're going to need all these guys to step up.
Now, the thing about what you have to do, you're going to have to isolate some of your guys on them, make sure they don't wander around. But tight ends have a in a position where they can wander off the line of scrimmage. Even in a blocking situation, they're always the next security blanket that the quarterback looks for on any level.
Oh, yeah, I think we just forget about that when we're here because we have the cowboy back instead of the tight end.
We think of cowboy backs as just being split out, going running down the field like Stogner. You know, he's not a cowboy back for OU, but he's a, quote, tight end. Well, he's a flanker. He's in the slot. These guys don't pretend to be flankers. But make no mistake about it, if they line up 2 on one side, 1 in the backfield, sometimes they go 3 on one side, they're there to block first, just like cowboy backs there. But they also understand the geography of the field, as does Purdy, that if the run's not there or he has to come off that play, they just go find an open spot. And at 6'7", 6'7", 6'8", all you got to do is throw it up there in the 7-foot range, and it's a rebound. And they go get it, and it's not flashy. It's a 5-yard gain. It's a 6-yard gain. However, it makes the next down more manageable.
Oh, yeah, it makes
You mentioned Matt Campbell there. And giving him some credit, how about the fact that he's up against the spread this year? Okay, Oklahoma State comes in as a 3.5-point favorite. When he's against the spread as an underdog in the Big 12, he's 17-5.
Well, Campbell is. I think he's a great tactician, and we got to look at that in person 2 years ago when they came in here. I forget who it was. It was Zeb, whoever the quarterback was for the first series. I think he got sacked first couple of times, and he was gone. In comes a guy named Brock Purdy. Nobody knew who Brock Purdy was.
the pain.
But it was Matt Campbell who was basically waiting for us defensively to get set. And once we got set, then he called the play maybe in the last 10 seconds to Purdy, and they seemed to always find an open spot on the field. This is a whole different look with – this is not going to be a track meet because they're not a track meet offense. But they are about as efficient an offense as you're going to find in this league. And their idea is twofold, as I say all the time. Move the sticks, move the clock, and get another fresh 2 or 3 minutes. Now, eventually you want to go down there and score points. I mean, you don't want to run 7 minutes off the clock and come up with nothing. Then you defeat everything there. But they got a good field goal guy in Casale. And they can get threes and rescue drives. But they will tax the patience of your defense if you can't get them in long situations because they'll chip away, and all of a sudden they need 4, and they throw a 5-yard pass to Kolar. Okay, first down. They move the sticks, move the clock. It's not a flashy. Now, if you get a little too greedy defensively, and you say, hey, we're not letting these tight ends do this to us, okay? And we're not going to let Hall run. Now, Milton may not play because he's a speedster, but Hutchinson can go. He's a JUCO guy. And you get yourself a little greedy looking in, peeking in a little bit to what's going on line of scrimmage, and all of a sudden Purdy will straighten up and throw that thing over your head, and Hutchinson will catch it. So they're a dangerous bunch. They're an experienced bunch. They know what they're doing. I like their scheme is it's best for them offensively. We'll get on the defensive side here in a minute, Patrick. But offensively, they do what they can to maximize what they've got. And their offensive line is going to be minus Trevor Downing. He's a 314-pound guy, a sophomore, redshirt sophomore. But they got a couple of guys who have stepped up in their place. So we'll see how that works. But they're scary to me if they're dictating down and distance because they can dictate pace. And they don't care about, we talked about it yesterday. In 4 games, they're a solid 4 or 5 minutes ahead of their opponents in time of possession.
Yeah, that's a big-time number, no doubt. It's going to be a fun one on Saturday. Of course, you'll get all the coverage here on the Triple Play Sports Radio Network starting at 9:30. The Orange Nation Game Day coverage. Tom will be a part of that, Levi and myself, along with everybody else in the station. So good stuff to come in just a couple of days. When we come back here on the afternoon, Sports Drive, one Oklahoma State wide receiver, former, I should say, has a new chance here in the NFL. The question is, will it work out for him? We'll answer that, as well as give you our Thursday night football predictions with the Giants and the Eagles coming up later on tonight here at Exchange Bank. We're back after this. Play Sports Radio Network, Patrick Wheeler, Levi Peckinpah, and Tom Dorado here on this Thursday as we get ready to wrap up the program here at Exchange Bank. And I know that there's a lot of Oklahoma State fans that were probably thrilled to hear this news today. And I know Levi was one of them as well because it's Oklahoma State and it's the Dallas Cowboys. But the word is that Dez Bryant may just be signing with the Baltimore Ravens onto their practice squad pending a physical and a workout. Obviously, we know Dez He was released in the 2018 offseason. And here's the thing with the Ravens. They definitely need another receiver. I mean, it's almost to a desperation point here because you have Hollywood Brown, and that's really about it. And we know that they run the ball like crazy, and that's their bread and butter, and Lamar Jackson's crazy good at that. But throwing the ball, they really need another receiver. I don't know if Dez is necessarily the answer, but I do think he adds a little bit of depth. He adds obviously some experience with those young guys that are on that team. So I think it'd be a good comeback story for him. But as you guys know, both of you, Tom and Levi, know that I am never the guy that's going to be singing Dez Bryant's praises. I've always thought he was one of the most annoying athletes of all time. Remember then with Dallas to throw up the X and we them boys and all that nonsense, and he never actually caught it, as we all know as well. So, but I mean, he might make a comeback story with the Ravens.
Well, Levi was trying to convince me that he's going to be a different guy now, but even though while Levi was talking, he was throwing the X up in my face, but
just went up there.
But
come on,
I don't
Levi.
agree with him. I mean, now Baltimore, I don't know that much about. Levi was filling me in on the personnel. I guess they don't have that many receivers, so I guess if he comes and does anything right, then it'll be good.
Oh, yeah.
Good acquisition.
They got a couple other Big 12 guys. It's like they took a lot of wide receivers. They watched some Big 12 film over the past couple years. That like Hollywood Brown, Devin Duvernay, and now Dez Bryant. We got a variation of the Big 12.
The Big 12 going on now. Also, do they want to have a receiver that when Lamar Jackson just doesn't look his way or overshoots him, that he comes over and gets in his face on the sideline and throws his helmet around?
Yeah, and Levi, when you say different Dez Bryant, are you talking about athletically or are you talking about like personality-wise?
I'm talking about both, since he hasn't been in the league for several years and he went out on an injury that took him out for the whole year. He hasn't had a shot in a long time. I would think that would humble a person. If I got kicked...
Humble Dez?
Humble Dez Bryant?
You going to use that word and Dez in the same sentence?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, my goodness. Wow.
Yes, I am, and I know that's crazy for a lot of people who basically he shoved his attitude in everybody's face, and he still will. But I think to a point he's going to calm down because he realizes this might be one of his last opportunities. He actually gets an opportunity. He hasn't seen the field in so many years. While you've had guys like Josh Gordon, Antonio Brown, who've been having worse problems, actual problems, take the field, and yet he hasn't had the chance. He's finally had the opportunity after training with everybody under the sun, and if you go down almost several NFL rosters, you can say, oh, Dez is trained with that guy, and even your guy, Patrick Mahomes, Patrick. So, I mean, there's a lot of people that know that Dez Bryant still has the talent, and what Lamar Jackson needs is that wide receiver to actually go up there and get a ball whenever there's the opportunity, because you already got the speedster in Hollywood, and now you have Dez Bryant.
If he's smart and he does get this chance, he will take it with the attitude of, like you said, okay, this is absolutely my last shot. I need to come back, and not only for the sake of myself, but how about the idea that the Ravens are one of the best teams in the NFL, and I have the best shot here at not only just coming back, but maybe even being a part of a championship caliber team. Now, of course, that all depends on Lamar Jackson. We know who can't really get it done in the playoffs, at least hasn't yet in his career. So that'll be interesting. It's a developing story. Obviously, we'll keep everybody up to date, hopefully with more information tomorrow. I want to get to real quick, guys, before we get off here, since Levi and I always give our picks anyways. Week 7, the NFL starts out tonight. It is not a great game by any means, obviously, with the Eagles and the Giants, but we're going to get our picks, and Tom, I'm going to make you pick as well, so be ready. I'm going to give you a second to think here, okay? But I'm going with the Eagles. And I think we have to give Carson Wentz a little bit more love for his performance against the Ravens on Sunday, because he brought them back and they only ended up losing by 2. He's making a practice squad receiver look good out there. Zach Ertz is out for like 4 to 6 weeks, we know now, so that's tough. There'll be a heavy dose of Miles Sanders. And we know the NFC East really sucks, but the Eagles have a chance here. They know the Cowboys are on the decline to come up and get a win in the division and maybe move up a little bit. As far as gambling, I'll get that out too real quick. The total, I like I think it was last at 44. Give me the over on that one, because I'll take Philadelphia. But also, don't be shy on the Giants at plus 4.5 on that. I think I like that line as well. They're going to lose, but it'll be by about 3. I'm going Eagles 28, Giants 25.
Well, what a surprise that would be. But either way, I think it's going to be good for me because either one of these teams is going to get their second win tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever wins is going to be number 2, which means in the win column they'd be tied with Dallas. So I don't care really which one it is.
Well, actually, if Philadelphia gets the win, they'll be in the top because they have the tie.
That's right.
They'd be 2-4-1, and Dallas would be 2-4 and.
No, they'll be 2-5. Or
They're 2-4.
Oh yeah, 2-4.
So there'll be, I guess, a tie or half a game out, whatever. But whoever wins tonight is going to get in the win column and tie Dallas in the win column. So I don't really care one way or the other. I've lost interest in what the Giants have been doing of late, and say of late.
Come on.
And, you know, as I've told you, NFL doesn't do much for me at all. So, but I will be interested it'd be nice that whoever gets it, I'll look at the standings tomorrow, and they'll have 2 wins, and Dallas will have 2 wins. So I can't lose either way tonight.
Yeah, there you go. I'm going to take Philadelphia. Yeah, I think for the Giants, what they need to be doing is losing so they can end up getting some better picks in the draft. And for Philadelphia, it's Carson Wentz holding on to what little last bit he has.
Getting better picks is one thing. Keeping them healthy is another.
Well, Saquon's not healthy.
No, but you get big picks every year, but they get hurt. Seemingly they can't stay out of the injury room. And that doesn't do you any good, all these picks. Go get yourself some guys who can block and maybe do something up front, and then we got something going here. But if you get to continue to go get running backs and receivers, and the guy who's throwing it can't even look around before he's on the ground, then you're going to do nothing offensively at all.
Well, that's why they took Andrew Thomas in the draft, and that's why you need to go out there and get more guys. That's why you need to go after a Penei Sewell or a Creed Humphrey. You need more offensive linemen to bolster your roster, and that's why I'm going to have them lose. So that way you can get a Penei Sewell who is a top tackle in the draft, a Creed Humphrey who is one of the best centers in college football, because you're going to need those guys. Even though you would like another wide receiver, you need some more defensive pieces, which you need as many defensive pieces as possible. You guys need linemen. It's my favorite of you. You can go get Creed Humphrey.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
There you go. So fly, Eagles, fly tonight against the Giants.
And you know Scott Miller, if he's listening up there in Kansas, he's just loving this because...
I don't know if there's much to love about this situation at all.
Well, he's an Eagles guy, so if we're talking nice about his Eagles, he's got to think we're doing all right.
I mean,
yeah, but as far as NFL fans, this game isn't really doing a bunch of us a favor.
In fact, you may have to just text me what the score is because I got other stuff to do that has a lot more importance than watching 2 teams in a pillow fight tonight.
And during my show, I'm probably just going to put on Netflix. I ain't going to watch that, man. Okay, I'll probably watch it. I got nothing else to do. I'm stuck.
Disclaimer,
I'm here for
he's
2
gonna
hours.
be watching. It'll be fine.
Yeah, but yeah.
That's going to do it for us here on the Afternoon Sports Drive, Triple Play Sports Radio Network. Again, I'm from Exchange Bank today. Go to www.easybanking.net and you can find all you need with your banking needs. Of course, they have that brand new orange card, and then you need a debit card. Opening a checking account is super easy here. They have mobile access to the bank. You can do literally everything from your phone. You can deposit a check from your phone. All kinds of great stuff here at Exchange Bank. So another big shout out to Andrea Bindley for hosting us and having us here today in the Oklahoma room. It's been a great time as always. Tom, I appreciate it. Go Giants, I guess, even though we know that won't really matter at all tonight for them. Of course, we'll see you on Saturday, right? Coming in on the Orange Nation game day.
Yeah, this is truly we'll have a fun Saturday, everybody, from start to finish when you guys get going at 9:30. We'll look at this game about 100 different ways, but I think it's going to come down to who can execute what they're doing the best. They all know about each other. I mean, there's no secrets in this one. So whoever goes out there and doesn't screw up and make a lot of bust will probably come away a winner.
Yeah, no doubt. That'll be you can catch Tom again on Saturday along with Levi afterwards, and catch Levi and I back here tomorrow on the Afternoon Sports Drive. We'll get you into your weekend with Oklahoma State as well as our rest of our NFL picks, all still to come. So big thank you to Levi back in the studio, Tom as well. I'm Patrick Wheeler. This has been the Afternoon Sports Drive on the Triple Play Sports Radio Network. Back tomorrow.